No mother ever cared for her children as Claver watched over the slaves. The saint, known to be melancholic, was warm and happy when with the slaves. His care for their clothing, food, and medicines was systematic and methodical. Begging from house to house for their medicines, he would only have the most costly for them. If they were gravely ill, he had them taken to his own room and put into his own bed, while he slept on the mat on the floor. He himself administered their medicines. For 4 months, he watched over one.
In 40 years, he is known to have baptized 300,000 black slaves. With 25 races, each with their own language, the diversity was dizzying. He spoke with difficulty the Angolan language, and hence needed help from interpreters, preferably of the same race. By asking for alms from door to door, he got together the price of 3 slaves in Africa. He asked a merchant who was leaving for Guinea to get them for him. In a storm, the merchant lost everything except Claver's purse of money. He was so humble that the superiors would not put him in charge. They tried once, but disaster resulted. One of his subordinates said,
"How could he take charge of the brothers when he cannot even impose his will on black slaves?"
For these he obeyed implicitly and humbly. He was so benevolent that on one occasion, a former slave became a tyrant towards the saint. He responded by making him his favorite advisor.
Once there happened that miracle of the eggs. I was going along the Calle de las Carretas with a young negress, a slave belonging to Dona Garcia de la Serpa. She was carrying, on her head, a basket of eggs. A man recently arrived from Spain collided with her, and the eggs fell to the ground. The negress burst into tears and begged God to help her, since she feared the anger of her mistress. At that moment, Claver appeared, and I knelt before him to kiss his hand. He asked me what was the matter, and I told him. Claver said to her gently, "Don't be so miserable, daughter. God helps the poor." He began to stir the eggy mess with his crutch. As he stirred that soup of yolks, whites, and shells, slowly the shells grew together again, each with its yolk and white within, leaving the basket spotless and the ground clear of eggs. Then, without delaying further, Claver said to her, "Learn, daughter, how God consoles the poor when they earn their bread by the sweat of their brow." He went away, leaving the woman to collect the whole eggs.
There was a certain slave boy, a young Negro aged 14. He was a slave in the Duarte Bravo family. He died after suffering from tuberculosis, a disease of the lungs. They were about to enshroud his body, but Father Claver arrived and asked for time to pray for him. He sprinkled his body with holy water, placed his famous cross on the boy's lips, and he called his name 3 times. At the third, as if awakening from a deep sleep, the boy sat up and exclaimed,
"What amazing things I have seen!"
Father Claver heard his confession, administered extreme unction, and the boy died in his arms.